Hello my lovelies, it's me with two different designs, the gel design and the grown out acrylic design, which I am getting rid of, I promise. Right, this is what I'm using for today's video. I'm using my Nailmate size 5 3D brush. When you get it, there is a residue on the brush to keep it in place. Just flick it, keep flicking that brush until all the fibres come out, you'll see it. Don't put it in the monomer until you've done that, otherwise you will ruin it. I'm also using my size 10 aqua brush from Glitter Planet's Nailmate. I've covered the writing with gel, that's why it looks bumpy. This is a beautiful brush. Yes it is. And I'm using these beautiful, I can't remember what they're called, they're like stars, pointed Christmassy stars from Glitter Planet, and these beads as well from Glitter Planet. My core system is Glitterbels, as always. And I'm using the liquid silver. Oh my goodness me, this stuff is a dream to work with. So I'm using my flexi hand, and the people at the flexi hand company actually got hold of me and asked if I'd like a discount code because I've been using this for ages. So as you can see, it's flat on the bottom, so you can take the fingers off and lay them flat in your lamp or to the side or whatever. So my discount code will be in the description box below, along with the link to their website. I use this, I don't even know, multiple times a week, over and over, and it's just super easy. I use these cheap tips that I get from Amazon or eBay. I use full length, full well tips, and I just slide them on up there. This makes my son shudder. His knees literally shudder if he sees me do this. He can't stand it. I just got a big box of tips that are dirt cheap. Super cheap. Bargain. So, okay, let me tell you about this design. I'm in an awesome Facebook group. I will put the link in the description box as well, run by a team of wonderful people. And I was just offered the chance to take part in a little challenge. They gave me a picture for inspiration, and this is what I came up with. So we've all had a bash and done different things. So I am making a heart. I'm going to do an inlaid acrylic heart. So kind of like colour blocking, except with more of a shape. I've never done it before. I don't, I've only just got my little 3D brush because my other one was terrible. So I'm just going with the flow, really. I'm really just having a bash, and came out well. So I'm picking up the beads. This brush can pick up, decent sized beads. It's pretty good. You can have them super tiny right at the end, or bigger. And I'm just imagining half a heart on the nail, and whatever I do on this one, I'm going to mirror on the other one. So I'm thinking about the way the heart goes out, and then I'm going to create the barrier there, the lines, and I'm just going to build that shape up so I've got something to file up against. So I'll leave you watching this part, and I will meet you back in a second. I just want to add as well, the liquid silver this is the first time I've worked with this, and it's wonderful to work with. It feels like I'm working with something like mercury. There's no problems with blending. It's super pigmented. It's wonderful to work with. The only thing I will say is be prepared to change up your monomer or have a separate monomer, because you're working with very pigmented, very sparkly acrylic. It's going to settle at the bottom of your dapping dish. So when you empty that, when you clean it out, I always twist up my kitchen towel, plop it into the dapping dish, let it soak up the acrylic, and then I kind of clean around the bottom with it. That's the only thing to be aware of, because obviously if you go and use something else that you don't want glitter on, you're going to contaminate that via the pot, the jar, or the monomer. I will get my words out eventually. So I'm building this up because I know I'm going to file into it. I need something, the same as when you're doing the smile line, you need something to butt that file up against to make a crisp line. And you need the right opacity, which is easy with this. I mean, you could do a really thin heart with this and have the right opacity, but you need the depth of the shape. You really need that 3D deep shape so you can have those nice strong walls So I'm just checking it from the side profile, having a look at it, looking at where I need to add more acrylic. Super, super easy. It really was easier than I thought it would be. It just looked, in my head it seemed very intimidating. I was like, how am I going to do this? The actual design I was given for inspiration was a hand-drawn design. But when I looked at it, I love working with acrylic, and I'm just getting to grips with hand, you know, painting and stuff like that. So I decided to adapt it and change the colour scheme to make it more wintry and Christmassy, because we had snow this morning, and it just inspired this frosty, icy, beautiful concoction. So as you can see, I'm constantly tapping it, I'm pushing it into place, I'm building it up. And there's the both sides done. I'm checking them, matching them together to make sure that I've got it the way I want it. And then I'm going to check that they're dry. So obviously once they're cured, they kind of click when you tap them. I'm going in with the 100 grit side of the file. I have not taken the edges off this, so it's sharp. Okay, I'm going to pull this finger off so I can work with the other one. That's why I like the flexi hand. And I'm going to show you different angles so you can kind of get the gist of, I'm holding the file completely up and I'm pushing it right up against that side there. So I'm pushing it against the acrylic, not down on the tip. I'm then going to take it around the curve. Now this is the part where it's easy to make a mistake by holding your file in the same area for too long. So, sorry I briefly went out of focus there. I take the tip out because that's the beauty of the flexi hand, and I'm rolling my tip around, my file, sorry, around. So I'm holding it, and as I'm bringing it backwards and forwards, I'm taking it with the curve of the heart shape. See, round it goes. I don't stay in the same place for too long because you'll end up with a flat part, and you'll lose that curvature of the top of the heart. So I'm checking it, making sure I'm happy with it. Making a couple of adjustments, just where it curves up at that side. Once I'm happy, I'll remove the dust, have another look, and once they're both done, I'm marrying them up again to make sure, because the tips move, you know, so I want to make sure I'm continuing the design with the tips in the right place. So I'm going to be going in with white. Now this white is actually Trilogy white that I've still got left, and I really enjoyed working with it, so I was like, oh, I'll use that then. I don't have Annabelle's Snowdrops white. I've never got it. I don't know why. I need to put it on my order because I only have a little bit of white left. So I'm just using the Trilogy white. And I'm completely butting it up to and going over the heart, but that's the aim of the design, is to get it as crisp as possible. So if you go over it, doesn't matter, you're going to file the design in. If you're filing by hand, then I would say go over at the as minimum as possible, because you're going to have a lot of filing. If you're filing with an e-file, then you're lucky, you can just whiz over the top of it. But I used to do, you know, colour blocking without an e-file, so you can do it, you just tend to work a bit less messy. So I'm just patting it and pulling it down, tapping it into place, checking the underneath because it always seems to go there. And I'm literally just slapping a bit more on for the sake of it. Mainly it's probably because once I file, I love seeing the design shine through. So I'm moving that finger out of the way, laying it down to cure and going on to the next finger. Nice big bead at the cuticle. Stays where it's put. I like this. I do like Trilogy as a system. It's just Glitterbels has so much variety, and I really enjoy working with it. So here's another view just so you can see kind of roughly how I'm working. I use my hand to rotate the nail, the finger, and that would be the same if you're working on a client. You use your finger that you're not holding your brush or your file with, you use that hand to rotate their finger so that you're not twisting and turning, because you're going to get achy shoulders, achy arms. So, sorry if you can hear that banging. That's a 7-year-old running up the stairs. Because you want their finger to move for you, not you twist around for them, you see? Otherwise it's not sustainable for your posture and you will get very achy. So I added too much product, so I'm just hooking it off. It's fine. No biggie. And then we'll start smoothing it into place. At this point your client's like, what are you doing? And you can just look at them like, you'll see. Like, mate, what have you done to my nail? Am I paying you for this service? Yes! It'd be funny if you had a hidden camera just showing your client's face at this point if you did not explain to them what you were doing. That would be quite funny. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to let them cure, and then we're going in with the e-file. I'm using my course bit from Glitter Planet UK again. Don't forget, discount code in the description. I don't make any money, it's just nice to have a discount. I even forget to use my own discount code, so don't be like me. So as you can see, the design's starting to come through. I use small movements over the nail, because obviously I don't want to go and gouge a large chunk out. I'm using a coarse bit, so. My e-file is from Femme Fatale Nails. I think it was like £70 or just over. Something like that, 69 or 79. And it's really, really good. I really like it. It's perfect for me, for what I use it for. Okay, on to the next one. So as you can see, with my thumb, I'm rotating the finger to make it easier for me with the e-file, and I'm pressing down at the same time so that the tip doesn't move too much, because these tips are not secured. But you can use an e-file on them, and this is showing you can use an e-file with a flexi finger. If anything, I find it a little bit trickier filing by hand, and I often just remove the tip and file and then place the tip back. But that's the beauty of it, isn't it? I'm showing you here how I do file by hand using it. It's just I find I get in my own way a little bit. Hand filing actually hurts my hands. I get inflammation in my knuckles and it does hurt, but it's not too bad. It's just easier sometimes to take the tip out. Because it will start to slip a little bit, which is understandable because you're putting pressure on something that's not secured. So I'm just kind of smoothing out those file lines from the e-file. And now I'm left with a lot of dust. So I wanted to show you quickly how I clean it. I've got isopropyl alcohol in here. It's like a pump dispenser and a brush. I pump the liquid, I put the brush in it, and then I just brush the flexi fingers. And they come up beautiful. I find it really easy. It takes like a few seconds. And then pop it back in, and then again I will line them up before I then proceed with the next stage of the design, because I don't want to do things and then it all look wonky. So I'm giving them a wipe over because I've touched them with my greasy fingers. Now this is actually one of those flat plastic chopping boards. I bought it today and I thought, oh well, I'll use that for my glitter. I'll just tip it out there, because then I can fold it and tip it back in, because I've lost my... Basically, my stuff is in boxes in the salon, which is at the end of the garden, and I have to haul it back over to the house, or my husband does, for me to do anything, because the salon's not finished. So I'm laying down a wet bead of clear acrylic and popping some stars down. It was a bit of a faff at times, because I just couldn't pick the buggers up. I was really like, why is this so difficult today? I just wanted to add that little bit of Christmassy, starry, kind of snowy feeling, you know, icy beautifulness. And these are so gorgeous. They're iridescent and they're stunning. I ended up shoving that one on with my finger. Splat. And then I'm just using a little bit of acrylic to keep that particular one in place because it was moving like goodness what. So here's me capping with glass slippers from Annabelle. I'm going to clean my brush and then go back in and move the product. So I'm just like teasing it down the nail. Now on this side, the stars moved. So I'll show you how I rectified that. So around now, I think it was, I noticed they'd moved. So I actually went back in and sort of used my brush to shove it back up. And then, because if it's moving, it's going to keep moving, isn't it? Until the acrylics started to set. So I just moved it back up, smoothed it back down. Simple fix, don't panic if that happens. So just using the end, I'm using a nice wet bead. We want that lovely clear glassy finish. I'm going to go in and cap the other nail. Again, tucking it in around the cuticle. Nice and neat. Letting gravity kind of take over and take it down the nail. And then after that, I will give them a finish file. Just but with my hand file. I did that off camera, just a quick finish file. So we're going in with some AB crystals from Smileys Glitter Store. And they're stunning. And along with that, I'm using the beads from Glitter Planet. I've been wanting to try this for ages and I didn't have any beads. I was really irritated. I kept forgetting to order them. I'd order everything else, but not the beads. So now I've got the beads. So this is what we're doing. 2 tiny dots of NSI Polybond. And a little beady. So beautiful. They changed like the look of the crystals into more like a tiara kind of thing. I just really thought it was beautiful. I need to get a new like crystal pickup tool because this one's had it. It was playing up something rotten. It was really annoying me. I have sped this up obviously because it's quite time consuming and I've only shown you one nail because really it would be quite boring and this is a really long video. I can talk the hind legs off a donkey. It's just, you know, I don't want you getting bored and falling asleep. Okie dokie, top coat. I'm using CJP Tack-Free Top Gloss. It's just what I've got, that's why. I like it, it's alright. That's pretty good, it's pretty shiny. And then there's a video at the end to show you the finished design. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you for popping over and watching. Pop over to my Instagram, social media, Facebook page. I'll see you over there. Bye!